The savannas of Africa. You might recognize it even if you don't know much about the world, since it's one of the most famous and most recognizable ecosystems on the planet. You might know this from Minecraft or just having a basic knowledge of the world. Savannas are a very beautiful ecosystem, and for good reason. So I'm just gonna be yapping about it, pretty much. That's all this video is gonna be, so enjoy. Now, what is the core of the savanna ecosystem? Well, that is very simple to answer. It is grass. Whether directly or indirectly, pretty much all animals rely on grass. Whether it's, of course, the grazers, like zebras, which, by the way, just have massive cheeks, and gazelle and buffalo, they rely on it as a direct source of food. But, for example, insects and small mammals use it as cover. This little guy, the elephant shrew, is a very good example of that. It makes little paths in the grass, and it keeps these paths very, very tidy. It keeps them very clean. Nothing is on these paths because it is the only source of defense. It has a very complex system of paths so that when a predator attacks it, it can just run away in this complex path. By the way, it has all of these memorized in its head. So yeah, and it has to keep it very clean for one simple reason, so that it doesn't trip or isn't blocked by anything while running away from a predator. Now, in an ecosystem like this, there are really only two seasons: the wet season and the dry season. And these seasons also apply to all MILFs. Now, let's start with the wet season, because that's when pretty much everything happens. And just to clarify, right now I'm talking about the savanna ecosystem, not MILFs. Just to get that out of the way. Of course, the wet season is the season when everything grows in abundance. It's the season that is to be jolly, ta-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, or however that fucking little Christmas song goes. But it does change in length from region to region, but in general it usually lasts between 4 to 8 months. Now let's see what this season is like from the perspective of the animals. Now, the animals most affected by the seasons are, of course, the migratory herbivores. The great migration of wildebeest, zebra, and gazelles is happening in the east. They follow the rain for the most abundant sources of food, making treacherous, long journeys across the land, crossing rivers. Oh, a few of them just got snatched up by crocs, but don't worry about it, it happens all the time when they cross all sorts of rivers and bodies of water. Even hippos catch them sometimes because, you know, hippos are just unhinged. But anyways, this migration is around 2,000 kilometers long and is one of the greatest natural events on the planet, besides bro getting some bitches. No, I'm just kidding. Now, one animal that is very interesting is the elephant, because they don't follow instinctive migratory patterns. Instead, they use knowledge passed down from generation to generation. This is an animal with culture, damn it. Now, this means that many different herds go to many different locations. Some herds go to special little pockets of vegetation that pretty much nobody else knows about. Or maybe they go to giant watering holes where other animals go to as well. Now, guess what time it is? It's mating time. Oh, there's mating going on everywhere. Bulls fighting, males fighting. Oh, there are babies popping out left and right. Some of them are getting snatched up by predators. Lions catching little zebras and wildebeest. Don't worry about it. It happens all the time. It's the natural cycle of things. It's not violent or brutal. It's just nature. No, but it is kind of brutal though, so...
Shut your bitch ass up!
This mating time sees bulls fighting for dominance for the females to show who has the most testosterone in their body. Now the elephants are again so interesting because this is when males go into a state called a must. And it's not a good state to be in. It's pretty much roided up bull elephants. They're on more testosterone than the Liver King, bro. That's a lot of testosterone. Now what is different between the Liver King and elephants is that the Liver King did it by synthetic drugs.
Primals, I'm making this video to apologize.
Elephants, they do it naturally. It happens to them naturally, and it doesn't cost them thousands of dollars a month. Now, many elephant attacks happen simply because bulls become so aggressive during this time. And also, the males that can't get a female do some prison shit to rhinos. I mean, oh god, it's so horrible to think about. Now, speaking of rhinos, they are like the Down syndrome kid of the savannas. They are way too dumb and way too strong for their own good, and a lot of the times they do some friendly fires. They can charge at their own species. They can even hurt their own babies. They can even charge at trees and rocks and completely nonsensical objects. They exist in the savannah. They get along with most things as long as, you know, they don't get within 2 kilometers of them. So yeah, that's rhinos for you. The Down syndrome kid of the savannah. Now, with all these babies popping out, the predators take advantage. As I said before, lions, hyenas, and cheetahs are just a few examples of the predators that you can see on the savannah. Now, lions are of course the largest land predator in Africa and possibly the scariest. Hyenas have bone-crushing bites, and despite their reputation, hyenas actually hunt most of their prey themselves. And when you take a closer look at them, it's no surprise that they do. With the massive numbers in the aforementioned 1,100 pound per square inch bite, the hyenas can hold their own, and when it comes to their prey, real scavengers like vultures will find very little to eat after they're done, since they eat pretty much everything that the animal has to offer. And then there are, of course, the cheetahs, which are the fastest land animals on the planet. However, they get bullied by other predators more than a trans kid at a Balkan school. So why doesn't it only hunt in regions where there are no hyenas and lions? Well, because where there are no hyenas and lions, there are African wild dogs, which are the most efficient, most intelligent predators in the savannah. They're some of the most successful predators in the savannah, with a success rate of around 70 to 80%. Just for comparison, the lions have a success rate of around 20 to 30%. Yeesh. And I thought they were scary, bro. There's a 70% chance that if they pounce on me, I'll survive. Okay. Don't test that. Do not test that. Do not. Okay? If a lion pounces on you, there is almost a 100% chance that you will not survive. Don't test it. Now, as all good things do, the wet season eventually comes to an end and begins the much more challenging dry season, when herds of animals flood to the few sanctuaries they can find. Many youngsters and weak individuals will die during this process, and the battle doesn't stop there. Everything is fighting for water, whether it be the giant elephants chasing everything away from their territory, or whether it's the small little warthogs sneaking past giant rhinos and giraffes just to get a few sips until it gets noticed and runs off again. But that isn't nearly their biggest problem. It is a 100 million year old killing machine that has stood the test of time. As a group of wildebeest goes near the watering hole to drink, they are wary. They are very wary, but not because of the things that they see, but because of the things that they don't see. The crocodile is lying under the water, waiting for the perfect moment. until it thrusts its entire body out of the water within a fraction of a second, catching one of the wildebeest by its throat and dragging it into the water. This wildebeest will never have the luxury of breathing ever again. After that, the crocodile begins its signature death roll, which will tear the wildebeest into shreds and kill it permanently. And despite this, crocodiles might not actually be the most dangerous thing in the water, since there is a 2,000 kilogram homicide pig in the water with giant tusks, which is possibly the most unhinged animal, not just in the savannah, not just in Africa, but possibly the entire world. The hippopotamus. Here's a video of finishing the job for some carnivores because it felt like it. This poor little gazelle was completely safe from the African wild dogs until the hippo just went in and did it for them. It killed the gazelle for them. Why? I don't know. I don't know how a hippo thinks. I think they just want to see the world burn. But anyways, after a few very challenging weeks and months, the dry season and the wet season eventually comes back, and the cycle starts all over again. This is the balance of nature. Constant change, sometimes cyclical, sometimes completely random and uncalled for. Now, if you want a part 2 to this video, then comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you want to see me talking about more famous ecosystems, then, you know, do the things that I just mentioned. Anyways, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. This was just a short little video looking at the savannah ecosystem, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.